Well, greetings again. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society, and I want to continue this morning and remind you of the video I just finished about African teeth and how nature was taking care of the African kids and had been doing it for years and years, and I wanted to incorporate this type of help in doing American children that would come in with preventive and interceptive needs to do things that would prevent their teeth from being crooked. And so I developed a method of reduction of the deciduous teeth, by pulpotomies, and we could take the pulp out, we could do anything, and I want to show that. I've got several videos on this, and a lot of people done that way, including my own son later on. So let's get going here, and I want to show you this, and you've seen this young lady several times in the past, and this is a wonderful example of that deal. Now let me see if I can get her in place. And here is the young lady. Now this is a thing that presents itself here in the United States all the time. These teeth are just too big for the space that's going to come in there. But I want to try to save these teeth and help it along. And this is a deciduous tooth all the way back here to the second molar. This is a permanent 6-year molar back here. So the child comes in with these 3 teeth that fill up the space. And then over behind here, there's a permanent lateral just like this one sitting over here. Now, I want to do something that will save this arch length in here. If I extract the deciduous cuspids right here, you take the root and everything out, it's gone. Now the permanent cuspid will move way up in here, and you'll lose the arch length in there. And this is a fact. You can go any way you want to and look it over. If it's not true, let me know about it. But this is a truth, and this is the best solution that I know of for taking care of a mild, crowded case. If you can get them to breathe through their nose and to swallow correctly, and to get rid of any thumb sucking and tongue thrusting and different problems that they have that'll interfere with it, and let nature straighten the teeth out. That's the best orthodontics that's possible to do. So let's get started on this. I'm going to hurry through it, and if you want to go back and look at some of the other cases that are showing this, now look at it any way you want to, but it's going to have crowding up here, and it's crowded down on the bottom side also. So what am I going to do? I want to keep the root of this tooth, but I want to make some space in here that will allow this tooth to slide forward. And I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do the same thing and let these teeth drift in that direction. Nature is going to help me do this. So just watch. I'm going to go in here, but you have to be very careful. We use a long carbide burr, brand new, and every time sterilize it. You cannot put a rubber dam on here because you're going to go down in the gum and you get it all wound up, and you don't need that anyway. I've done hundreds of these and thousands of these teeth, and I've never had one of them blow up on me, and that's a fact. But I've had people try to duplicate it and not pack the zinc oxide Neutronol in there properly, and I had a teeth case that did go bad, but it still worked. All right, so here's what we do. Now this is back taken when you didn't have to have the gloves on. All right, now This is the lateral tooth here. There it is over there. Now this tooth has eaten through the root of the deciduous tooth a bit, but once it gets to the enamel structure, the permanent tooth cannot eat the enamel structure of a deciduous tooth. So this gets hung up down here. And I knew that. I could see it on the x-ray. So I'm going in here. I'm going to take this portion of this tooth off. And I think I took a little tissue out, but you don't even have to do that. Now, there it is, looking at it again from that angle. Another angle, there's the deciduous, there's the permanent tooth over here. Part of it's coming up inside the crown of this deciduous cuspid. But I do not want to take the root of this cuspid out. I just want to do this. Now these teeth that are coming in, they're broad up here, but they get narrow as they go down in the mouth like that. And you get them up here, they take less problem there. And so this messed up right here, I'm sorry. I don't know, it's messed up there. I want to keep this. Okay. Now I'm about to go back and okay. Sorry for the interference here. I've got my hand too far down on this, so we're going to take this tooth here off. I'll have to go over here and get my little red pen marker right there. Now I can draw over here on this side. Now this is a burr that we use for several years. It's just a long tapered diamond. You just get a brand new one, keep them sterile, and then we're going to use this burr, but I've changed later on to a long carbide burr. It was a little cleaner operating that. Now you take that burr, you cannot go down here and cut this off with a disc because you're going to run into the permanent tooth there. When you get close down here, aspirate this, but don't blow an air at it. Just suck your vacuum on it, and you get this down, then you pop this part of the tooth away from that. Now you can go down and you see you're in the pulp chamber of this tooth. You can pop this out, and we still haven't done it. I took a lot of that tissue out so you can see the tooth better. Now I broke that off, and you can see this permanent tooth has come up inside this deciduous tooth right here. So we go down and cut this, but don't touch this tooth right here. I just do that pulp, and then I run this right on down into here, and we do a pulp out of it by just obliterating the pulp with that burr. Now we pack that with zinc oxide eugenol. You just make your little pile of zinc oxide, you put just a little bit of eugenol in it, and you mix it like you're mixing biscuits or something else, and get it real thick, and then you pat it out and get all the eugenol you can get out, get it just as stiff, it's almost like packing amalgam. And you can cut it off with that, put it on the end of that spoon, and now this is bleeding. Let it bleed. You don't mind at all. This is real heavy, and you're going to push it down inside that tooth. And that leaves the root of this cuspid alone. It's still there. And so when the permanent tooth runs into that root, it has to eat that away, and so that'll keep the arch length that you have. But if you extract this tooth right here, you will lose arch length. I don't care who you are. And you will lose it. You can check this out if you want to. And I'm telling you the truth. You can pack that in there. Now, let's shove it down in there. And I'll smooth it off. And I'll take something to smooth this corner of this tooth off, pack that, and then take a little more and kind of smooth it out so it doesn't. And this zinc oxide usually will harden and set there. And you can poke it, come through the tooth if you want. It doesn't hurt anything. It'll come out with the rest of this stuff. Now, we've got these teeth all over in this side of the mouth. So we've got to do something. So we go to the other side of the mouth. We take this tooth down just like we did that and go in and taper off here. The root is still down in here. We run down the canal and do pack that with the zinc oxide and neutronol too. So there we go down and we're cleaning that out, and we've made room over on this side so that these teeth can drift over here, and we'll keep this in the center line of the teeth coming in. In other words, this is going to be your center line here. Now watch this take place. Nature will move the teeth over, the tongue pushing forward and then the lips holding back. If the person breathing right, swallowing right, not doing anything, not sucking their thumb or whatever people do in here, just leave it alone, the pressure in the mouth will move these teeth where they need to go, and that will be correct. And it will, I don't care what cephalometric diagnosis you have, they cannot tell you exactly where those teeth go, because nobody knows exactly the amount of pressure on the outside holding it in, or how much inside pressure is being pushed up against it, how much they swallow, how much they do all this other. And if you knew all of that, you might could design it right, but you do not know those things, and you cannot put it down on paper, and nobody can put it down from an x-ray exactly where those teeth are going. But if you make room for them, now watch, we're going to pack that zinc oxide over here. We push it in there and pack it like amalgam. And then I'll smooth those teeth up a little bit, but I don't see it here. Now we aspirate, but do not blow air down the canals like that. So now this tooth is right against this, and so these teeth will tend to move in a right direction there. Now here, let me get the date on that. I don't have it down here, but anyway, a few weeks later, or a month or two or something like that, now look where this tooth is. I have not touched it with anything. It's nature is pushing those teeth in the right position. This center line has gotten about here. It was way off over here now. So these teeth are moving over in this direction. The tongue is shoving them from the backside. The lip is catching them out here. There's no breathing problem, anything. This child swallows correctly, and the teeth are being pushed into position correctly. And that's where they want to be. And that's where the pressure from the inside and the outside is the same, and those teeth end up in that point. And that's a fact. Now, and this will be true 100 years from now. I don't care what comes out, you can do this, and nature's going to do this for you or help you. Now let's get on with the job. Now the top has to be done too, so we're going to come in, and look, this is getting better. We're going to come in and reduce these two cuspid teeth right there and let the top come in. I'm going to run through this to her. Now looking at the top, so we're going to take this off. So we're going to take this off too, right there. And do a pulpotomy on each of those teeth. And don't be afraid to do a blooming pulpotomy. I've done thousands of them. I've never had one of them go bad. Now look where this tooth is. It was way back here. The space was not near enough. It slides over. Now it's in this groove. This has still got some room, and so it's going to move in that direction. if you needed to, you could come in and take some more off it. There's no feeling in that tooth, and the tooth doesn't bother. Don't get up there close to the nerve and think, well, I won't touch the nerve. That tooth will give you a fit. Take the nerve out of there, pack it with hard zinc oxide Neuronol. That's all you need, and it can stay there for a year or 2 or 3 while you're watching this child develop. Now, when we get this centered out a bit, then either this or this piece of deciduous tooth right there will come out. Then we'll take the other part out and let the cuspid come up in there. Now we do the same thing up here. We cut these down, we pack them, and these teeth will fill in that space. Now that's the way the upper looks. It looks a little bloody here, but here's this lateral tooth over here. Here's one over here, and you watch that'll straighten out. Now this will move back. This will come this way. This will move over, and this moves because the tongue is pushing here and the lips are holding it back there, and that's where those teeth need to go. And that's where they'll stay. So let's watch that. See how much better this has gotten while we're working that. Now the bottom looked like that at once. Now it's like that. Now the top is coming in, and the lip is catching it. This sort of flat tooth, it'll turn this tooth, and this will level it over here. And the body is moving those teeth to the place that they ought to be. And that's the best orthodontics in the world. I don't care who you are or what it is, this is better than anything you could do. Let nature move the teeth where they need to go. All right, let's go on. This is 2 of 78 right here. Now this is getting better. Look like I need a little more space, so you can go in and trim off this. There's no feeling in these teeth. You can just take it off if you need to. Now on the bottom, this is almost lined up over here. I haven't touched it other than that. Here the lips catching this. These are pushed out. Now look at the midline. It's almost dead center. In other words, these are almost over to where they're at the same place over there. All right, here it is later on. It's used up the space and it's come forward a little bit. This tooth needs a little bit better, and this would have to go out. We'll have to watch that. You can come over here and reduce this a little. It'll give you some space, and that'll come into place if you need to. All right, now this is straightened out pretty good. Here are the cuspids coming in. And I've told you these teeth, nobody's teeth erupt into the place in the mouth where they need to be in most instances. But they move into each other. The tongue pushes them out and the lips catch them in here. And that's what was doing this for all these kids in this African school that I went in. Had no orthodontic problem at all. And they weren't even mixed generations. Now, if you mix up the people and get big and little together, you're going to have problems when they're. I don't care who you are, you're going to have some difficulty. And you've either got to reduce the teeth or you're going to have a crowded pool, a mouth full of crowded teeth, or if you get them straightened out, they're going to be sticking out there further than they ought to be. Now watch this. This cuspid's coming in right here, and now we're going to take that deciduous tooth out. So we'll go in there and remove that. Now we've got the first molar out. We take a little off of here. You can look under here and see this bicuspid coming through there. You take this out, the bicuspid will come up and drop back into this space. The cuspid will move over here, and it'll be room enough for that tooth to come in. So we take that second deciduous molar. Take that same burr, go in there, cut the whole side of it out right there. Then you trim it off some. And now you take a long number 4 round burr. It's got a long shank on it. Go right in here, and you'll take the nerve out and go down and take the nerve over here and push it down in there as much as you can on that deciduous molar. These are deciduous molars. They're healthy teeth. I'm going to go in now, and I take that burr and go down inside that tooth and just grind that nerve completely, obliterate it, get it out of there. And now I pack the zinc oxide and eugenol. Let the blood fill it up. Don't worry about the blood in there. Don't worry about it. Certainly don't blow it out. And now take something, pack that zinc oxide and eugenol in there. I want to shove this in here, that hole. Push it in hard. Take a amalgam plugger, plug it in. It'll go down the horns of the nerve in there. And you can pack it in there, smooth it. That's all in the world you need. It'll sit there for 2 years if the tooth stays there. It'll still be there. And when this comes out, it will eat all the enamel, eat all the dental structure of that tooth up. There'll be a shell of enamel here left when it comes in. Now that left room for the first bar and the cuspid to come in here, and I look on there and see where this tooth will come up in here, and the bicuspid will fit right in this area, right in there. Now the little girl looks at you and says, "You son of a gun, you have messed with my teeth too much." But this same little girl came back to me after she married, and she had a child, and she brought that little girl to me, said she would fix this little girl where she didn't need to have braces. So she kind of forgives you after a while. All right, look here what's happened. I haven't touched it with anything. Let nature do it. The best orthodontics that can possibly be done. Look at the midline. Look at where this lateral, this over here. The cuspid that was down in there is back over in this side. And we're going to have a bicuspid now come in here. This bicuspid is coming in on the other side. And this has all happened with nothing but nature coming in here doing this. I have not touched it. Now this is going to bother some people that are looking for making a lot of money or something. You'll have to make them, charge them for what you got up here that you're going to straighten their teeth out without actually putting anything in there. I don't care what kind of Invisalign or anything else that you use. You don't need it here. You got them breathing right. You got them these things stopped up. If you got too big a turbinates or too much adenoid tissue, work on getting the thing functioning correctly. And if you get it functioning correctly, nature will put the teeth darn near in a place they ought to go in here. Now, look at this. Here, this lateral, your mouth crooked. Cut that off, it comes over there. This line just about as good on that side. Not quite as good. Bites closed a little more than I want. Now, up above, we're going to do the same thing. One or the other comes in, you take the other one, and now you come in and trim that one off. Now, here this is lined up. This midline is lined up. If you have a real tongue-tied problem, you may have to clip that, but that looks pretty normal right now. Now we have cuspids coming in, we trim this off and we left room for the bicuspid to come up in this area right there. Same way over here. See where this tooth came right up and then it dropped back into that space you gave it, and this is all lined up in here. I have not touched it. This is where the tongue put it. This is where the lip held it back. And that's the best that can be done. I don't care what you talk about, somebody putting something in here just to work on it, or somebody sticking something in it so they can charge them something. All you have to do is just know what you're doing and charge for that. Not, don't stick something on there just so you can make a charge to them. Now that's close to that bit, and now the cuspids comes in. Now the bicuspids are going to come in and they're going to fill up this gap right here. And we've got room for the second bi to come in there. All right, the cuspid will come down. We may not have a good space here. This cuspid is coming in labially, and it's hard for it to grab hold of it there. All right, here, looking at it from underneath here, we're going to trim this off. This will move over here. The cuspid will move in here, and the tongue will push in that pressure. This tooth here still hasn't straightened out. If I take some of that out or move that, that should help that problem. On the bottom, the teeth are almost straight. That came in all here. Now you're going to have some extra loom here. We could have taken more off of this, let this come back. This would have straightened out better. Right here, it's done pretty good on this side. There's the permanent teeth now fitting in here, and the second bicuspid is coming in that space. Now that's the mirror image just showing you these teeth over here. And that's going to go, and the bicuspid is going to come in, it's going to have some play in it. And here she is a little later on down the line, and we've got her straightened out pretty well like it is. And so they forgive you. She's got a normal facial structure. She's breathing through her nose. She breathes through her. She swallows properly. She functions properly. And we got the teeth in there in pretty good shape. Now you might have to come back later on and do a little bit of correction to straighten it out, but maybe you won't. And if I'm not mistaken, this young lady brought her own child back. She married somebody, but she was a town or so away and came in and wanted me to do the same thing for her child. And that's her when we started, and that's her when we finish. So thank you for watching this, but this works. And so examine it yourself. If it, or take it to whoever you want to. Let them look at it and see. If you don't believe it, just believe what I have put out here. I put the stuff on the table for you to look at. And I published this, and I got so much replies for this till I decided to do nothing but orthodontics. And so this was what happened to me in 1970. A guy living close to, practicing close to me, didn't have a foggiest idea what I was doing. He was bad-mouthing everything. He didn't know himself. He had no foggy idea what I was doing. And so I made this up into a table clinic and presented it. And I won the table clinic award. And the next year I had to go to before the whole state society, Louisiana and Texas, and give a half-day lecture on preventive and interceptive work. And this is what I showed. I showed what the problem was, what we were planning to do, what we did, and what result we got with it. And there wasn't nobody said a word about it wrong. And this is correct. There was one guy that just disliked me tremendously. He got up, stomped out in there, but he he didn't win the battle. So anyway, that has happened. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope you'll take this. And I have trouble finding people that'll do this work. But you can do this and prevent a lot of orthodontics